Part 3 is pretty good. If you're into rape, I guess there's a lot of that in part 3.
What is going on? Said the shiny knight in armor. I want to save the princess, but the dragon is a baby. The princess was very sad and lonely. Meanwhile, the king was eating his breakfast. He was eating eggs and bacon. This bacon tastes like kebab, the king shouted in annoyance. I hate cabbage. Suddenly, everything was cabbage. I woke up sweating and shaking to realize that the cabbage was a nightmare. Instead, I was out on a roof with a giant penis having 9 tails bent on world devirgination. I blanched with fear. Have you slept well? Said the 9 tails. I whimpered. 9 tails threw me onto his furry back and jumped off the roof onto the ground. His warm back felt good between my thighs. His movements were strong and violent, yet calm and smooth. Time to kill some virgins. End of part 2.
Can you send me
There needs to be a gif of that.
Yeah. I sent it to
3.
everyone else. I sent it to like a 9th grader and now I just
We
feel like a
ran for what
monster.
seemed like hours and days and hours. I slept, ate, and masturbated all on the back of the 9 tails, who, for some never reason, stopped running. A couple of times we met other Pokemon who were defeated and raped with effortless ease by our powerful and sexual coupling. After the 30th time this happened, I was feeling pretty horny. We arrived at a mansion the size of a very large penis, which at this point I thought of immediately. 9 tails effortlessly scaled the solid brick wall effortlessly, wisely, okay, and climbed onto the windowsill of the fresh young 18-year-old virgin, who I realized must live inside. It is time to begin your training, said 9 tails, and he threw me into the window. I screamed like a little girl as I flew through the glass. Wow, the shards cutting into my fragile young skin. I landed on the bed and there was a pandemonium. At first, the girl was shocked that a fellow hot teenager had flown through the window and landed on her bed, but then I began to work my magic. Hi, I said sexily.
No, sexually hit it.
Before I knew, we were sitting on the bed, breast to breast, as 9 tails watched us fucking some person I had never seen before throwing her off the window into the street.
Off the window?
It legitimately said before throwing her off
Yes,
the
it
window
does.
into the street. She landed with a splat as a car drove by and splattered her naked, mangled body sexily all over the asphalt. I hope he went and licked it. What goes around comes around.
What'd you say, Nick? Fanfiction doesn't face me.
Not even a little
No,
face.
it was the pun.
Yeah, it literally said come. It
What
literally
goes
said
around
cum.
comes around.
Oh,
It
I love
literally
that fun.
says that, yes.
I heard 9 tails says telepathically. After seeing this, the virgin became quite distressed and tried to escape, screaming terrified sobs, thrashing like a Kangas Khan and shitting herself out in pure horror. Somehow, our breasts became entangled, and as she tried to jump off the bed, I was pulled off by her breasts, and her head hit the ground with a terrible crash. Oh my God, are you okay? I asked with great concern, also noticing that shit had been catapulted from her panties into my vagina and feeling strangely aroused. She didn't answer, and I was afraid. That was when I realized that her body was shaking slightly, heaving up and down. I wondered if she was panting for breath after a breast-induced concussion, but then I looked up and realized that 9 tails was fucking her slowly and grinning and giving me the paws up. Stop. Stop that, 9 tails.
Stop it.
That's
Cut it
just
out.
weird.
That's just weird.
9 tails,
None of
stop
the rest
smiling
of
and
this has been too far.
and you
this,
strong and knocked me out.
This is too
When I woke
far.
up, I felt sore and realized that 9 tails had raped me in my sleep. Okay, I guess I deserved that one, I admitted demurely to 9 tails. What did you do with the virgin? 9 tails pointed with his paw to the back wall where I realized the virgin was bound tight against the wall, spread-eagled and with a gag in her mouth. I gasped in excitement and came. Oops, I said, giggling. The
10 out of
virgin
0 out of
looked at
10
me
did not
with
need.
wide eyes of horror and obviously did not appreciate my arousal. 9 tails looked at her pensively, then back at me, then back at the virgin, then at his own throbbing cock, which amused him for a good 15 minutes. And me as well. Only when the virgin started to make muffled cries of boredom did we realize we had been staring at 9 tails' cock for 15 minutes. Come on now, I said to the virgin. You know that you like it. Muffled, said the virgin. Hang on. Muffled. I looked at 9 tails and he nodded, also saying telepathically, how about them Patriots? Ninetails, Irontail. Ninetails suddenly grew Iron Tails and began to tail the fuck the shit out of the no longer virgin chained to her own bedroom wall. His tails moved with the swiftness and precision of 1,000 metal pistons, probing in and out of her now dripping vagina. The girl moaned in hideous agony as her innards were ravaged by the Ninetail's oncoming power.
I never
But I
knew
could
this in
see
my
from her
life.
slat of cum and
Did you get
facial
it?
expression that she was also hideously aroused. Ninetails went on penetrating her until she breathed her last, and then said telepathically, I, for one, did not approve of trading Randy Moss. We burned the house down and never went back there. Not that it would have made any sense to. Ninetails fired a blast at the front door and the whole thing was ablaze in minutes. Ninetails, I asked, what was that thing about the Patriots? I don't know anything about sports. It was part of your training, Ninetails said. If you cannot focus, you will never know how to use focus energy, which is actually very good for orgasm. Soon, I was riding Ninetails down the interstate and heard sirens in the distance where we had burned down someone's house. My car was the sexiest car on the road, and all of the men in the Prius looked at me jealously. Stop! You're under arrest for driving a Pokemon, screamed the young brunette behind the driver. Looks like it's time to go into second gear, said Ninetails, making engine sounds. Vroom vroom. We took off like a rocket ship down the interstate, knocking motorcycles and cars out of our way, making our way to the next bridge.
You're way downtown. Walking
There.
back.